What is going on, people? Deej's here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay commentary. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of Days of Ruin games. We'll be going back to basics, baby. We're doing Advanced Wars by Web. This right here, a match that I played in personally. Actually, while I was doing Days of Ruin, I actually only had one single game active, so I could focus on Days of Ruin. This was that single game. And no, it was not a Global League game. This is a tournament game. Yes, sirree. This is part of Silvera's something tournament. A tournament where you can only select a CO one time out of a pool of COs. Once you use that CO, you cannot use that CO once again. So naturally, I wanted to get the worst COs out of the way first, which are Grim and Jugger. Then you have the tier 3 COs, then you have the tier 2 COs. So I talked to my opponent before the game, Mr. Medium Meaty Tank. And I was like, hey man, let's get rid of our worst thingies, our worst COs, and get it over with so we can save the good ones for later in the tournament. He's like, sure man, I'll go Grim, you go Jugger. And I trusted him. He seemed like a trustworthy individual. He could have gone Olaf, he could have gone Max or some crap and destroyed me. But instead, we stuck to our word and we played some weird COs. So this is one of the most weird matchups of COs you'll see in quite a while. Jugger versus Grim. But before we go into the matchup itself, let's look at this map right here. Now this map as well is not in the Global Leagues. It is called String Theory. So, what is noticeable about this map? Honestly, it's a pretty straightforward map, to be perfectly honest. It's a 1 base in an airport versus a 2 base. And there's easy comm towers, semi-exposed HQ, but not really under threat for the most part. Easy comm towers. The middle has a few properties, but it's not crazy, but you do want to have control of the middle. There's a few things that I noticed about this map when I first looked at it that were glaring things that I needed to know about this map that maybe an ordinary Advanced Wars player wouldn't know. Take a look at yourself and see if you can find some certain areas that are crucial for this game. You can pause if you want. Anyway, crucial areas are right here. These rivers right here, reinforcing from these rivers, if you control these 2 spots, you can stop the reinforcements of purple over here if you control these 2 spots. Controlling this area is huge because then you can't go to the middle. You're kind of trapped there, which is really great. So I really wanted to work on that. I wanted to maintain control of my river, while at the same time denying my opponent from crossing this river over here. I mean, it is a 1 base and airport, so it's not going to be an easy task, but it's also very important. Now, also, B-copters are really good because B-copters can go through the middle, and it's hard to get an anti-air from over here to chase the B-copter in the middle. The anti-air has to go through this mountain area where there's a mountain blocking, a forest blocking, another mountain. I knew B-copters would be good on this map, so I was like, okay, control this little area here and get good B-copters. There's also another little area you want to control as well, not just the river in here. This is the most important area as well, but also choking off this area as well if you can. If you somehow control over this, and then you can somehow cut me off here so I can't go to the middle, it's also pretty big. There's black boats, they're not the biggest deal. These 2 right here are kind of not a big deal, but a deal, because you can't get your infantry into the middle as easily. You have to go all the way around, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it's worth like putting your artillery to attack those very early on, because you're going to give your opponent charge, and you're also going to delay your the movement of your tanks and your artillery to the front line. So I didn't really see a big priority in killing these black boats. These ones over here are completely useless. I didn't even touch that the entirety of the game. I don't want to give my opponent free charge, make my copter not go to its maximum movement potential that it could. So that was a few glaring things. Maintaining the number one thing, maintaining control over this area, maybe with some artillery over here on the defensive or perhaps on the offensive as well. But you really want to make sure your units can cross over here to the middle and reinforce, because the middle right here is pretty damn important. You can do front switches completely easily in the middle, uncontested front switches. It's just a pretty big deal to make sure you have control of this over here. Now, let's talk about the COs right here. So, as I mentioned earlier, I chose Jugger because Jugger's the worst CO. Well, Grim's the worst, then Jugger's probably the second worst CO. There's no other tier 4s allowed, so no Flak, no Sonya or anything like that. So these are the absolute worst. Now, Jugger's pretty bad. He's like worse than Flak. The thing is, let's talk about Grim first. Everyone knows Grim has 30% attack bonus, minus 20 defense, so he's really bad at defensive walls, not good at artillery walling as well. His infantry just get completely destroyed by tanks and whatnot. I believe it's a role for Jugger to one-shot his infantry on planes as well with a comm tower, so that's not really great at all. But the thing about Grim on this map that's good is copters are really good, and Grim copters are really good. You might be wondering, why are Grim copters any good? Like, what's so great about Grim copters? Well, the thing is, they have 30 plus attack, right? And the thing is, it doesn't matter how much defense they have, because an anti-air is going to one-shot them anyway. So it's basically like, oh, 30% extra B-copter. That's basically it. There's no real consequences for having less defense because he's going to die to an anti-air in one shot anyway, or a missiles in one shot, or a fighter in one shot. The only thing you have to worry about really is other copters coming to one-shot you. But you can one-shot other copters. I think it's a roll. I didn't really calculate this before the game. I think it's a roll whether you can one-shot other copters. If you have a power, you definitely one-shot them. Superpower, it goes without saying. But copters are pretty damn good for Grim. So Grim is actually not the worst actual pick here. The copters are so good that you can swing them here, you can fight over here, then go to the middle. Artillery or anti-air are hard to follow in the middle, so you have to build two artillery, one up here, one down here to control the copters, or build your own copters as a deterrent because they have such high firepower, or such low defensive that any firepower against them is going to destroy them. So copters are pretty good. Grim's not terrible. At the same time, Jugger is actually the best matchup for Jugger is actually against Grim. You know why? Because luck actually impacts, the defense actually impacts luck. So the worse defense your opponent has, say Grim, the more chances you have for insane rolls, which is really awesome. Like, it's the opposite with Kanbei. Or Kanbei, Kanbu, whatever. Jugger against that, absolute worst matchup. Because it's so much defense, you're going to have very minimal luck rolls. It's going to be ugly. Whereas Grim, you're going to have some insane luck rolls. You can get some one-hit KOs on some random-ass engagements, especially popping that scop, popping even that cop as well. You're going to get some pretty damn good engagements. You can actually do a lot of damage to Grim's copters with Jugger's infantry because they have such a roll. They can probably do up to 30 even without a CO power just by getting a good roll against those copters. Give it a CO power, you can probably do up to 6 damage to a copter. Super CO powers, hell, you could probably one-shot a copter if you get lucky enough. So, infantry actually pretty damn good against Grim copters in this instance. So I kind of like that matchup. Jugger against Grim, I was actually happy to see this matchup because it is probably the best matchup that Jugger could hope for, just because of the lack of defense. So I'm going to have a lot of good one-hit KOs. I'm going to have a lot of threats using my CO power. So I was pretty happy with that result of as a Jugger versus Grim matchup. So couldn't complain. Anyway, Mr. Medium and Tank, he's like a medium seed in the tournament, so he lives up to his name. Medium seed, medium MD Tank, he's just medium everything, just straight in the middle. So I was like, okay, he's a pretty formidable player, like 1250 player, I think maybe, 1200, something in thereabouts, so definitely like well above average. But in the tournament, there's some pretty high level players, like Go 7, Tortred, Starflash, Toulouse. So this guy was like a number 20 seed out of like 40. So yeah, exactly. In the middle, baby. Medi Tank Madu. So yeah, pretty good player. I know I couldn't take him lightly. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this game itself. Because I'm going to use this as a learning opportunity. Because I just freshly played this game. I want to tell you what was going through my head, the mistakes I made, what I would change about it, and just my notes as the game goes on. But anyway, let's start this game right now. Game starts off, I'm naturally the cool orange color in the top right, whereas Mr. Medium Tank is playing as the purple lightning, perpy Frenchman. Pretty standard opening. I go for this chain over here to get the airport early, because like I said, B-Copter's super good. Also, there's not a chain back here, so it doesn't really make sense to do that. And obviously down here, going for that base first. Pretty straightforward. I don't think there's going to see very much deviation in that. Mr. Medium Tank opts to not go for the early capture over here because there's no chain, whereas if you capture this one down here, there will be a chain. You'll be closer to the front line, and you can get this nice chain right here. Capture, 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 capture. So that's pretty good chain. Can't fault him for that. I think I might do the same. Nope. I go for the early income, rather. I don't think I calculated that, though. It just... You know, I played safe. This is actually one of the first games I actually took my time in since I only had one going on at a time. I used the move planner a good amount of times, so I'll tell you when I used it, but I decided to be a little feisty this game. I could have afforded an artillery this turn. Actually, I probably should have done this chain. I mean, it's probably minimal difference between getting that chain and not, but I decided to get an APC. Now, why did I get an APC? I don't have really a good answer. There's no real good boosts from it. There's no real point in the APC. For a capture game, the reason I got the APC because I thought mechs would be good. Placing on this river and on this forest area over here, I want to control that area. If I have mechs over here and in that mountain as well, I think they'll do a lot of damage versus Grim. Thing about APCs, it's 5k. My thought process is if I can get 2 mechs to the front line that do 2 damage, to do 2 hits like a tank would, that's like what, an APC 5k, 2 mechs 6k, 11k, and they're 2 on the front line like a tank. Tanks are 14k. If I have 2 mechs that are effective and get hits off, that pays for itself. It's cheaper than 2 tanks. So I was like, I'm going to just spam some mechs. I'm not going to go crazy with mech spam, but I'm going to get 2 to 3 mechs just using this APC. And I'll do some boosts. Maybe I'll like block some stuff with the APC. It was a little bit of a meme. I wanted to try something out new. The safe play here is just get an infantry and like go over here and do something. But there was no real caps I could get. Like if I got an infantry here, this infantry would go there. This one would start the chain. Where does the other infantry even go? So I figured, I'd use it to rush this corner over here. Maybe get this property, this property, this property. So we'll see if it comes into effect. But APC wasn't like a huge big brain move or anything like that. I didn't start actually paying attention to this game till around like turn like 5 or 6. So yeah, he builds a recon on his weak side, which I didn't quite agree with, but he saw the APC, so I kind of understand. The thing is, you open with a recon on your weak side, I'm gonna get a tank there eventually. In fact, not next turn, actually I'm gonna have to wait an extra turn to get my tank because I'll have 8k instead of 9k. So that part will suck. But the recon, it's not really going to get that far. It's going to get over to here, then it's going to get over here, and it's going to take 3 turns to even interrupt my cap onto, like, say, the comm tower in the middle over there. So I'm not really a huge fan of that recon. I probably would have played safe and just built more infantry and then built a tank next turn, but hey, that's just me. You have to really know what you're doing with the recon. Recons have really high payoff if you use them well, but they can kind of suck if you don't use them well, so I didn't really mind at all. I was actually happy to see the recon. So I do my caps like I said earlier. I get this useless boost that didn't matter at all. I would still reach this in 2 turns as well. It's not like I was able to boost it further. I can't actually go to the middle because of this black boat, but I put this infantry here positioning to get that one in that boosty poo, and I just built another infantry. Nothing too out of the ordinary so far. He puts his recon over here, like I said, completely far off from the front lines. He's not going to get to the front lines anytime soon at all. Now he's probably going to build a tank this turn. He has enough funds, probably on his strong side if I had to guess. Yep. Pretty straightforward there, can't really fault him. Has a recon on one side, a tank on the other. See, I don't really like this recon. He could have had a tank probably... No, he couldn't afford it last turn, so yeah, we'll see if that recon comes into play. Anyway, that extra 4k, you might have been able to build a copter next turn or something though, so there's always some sort of risk that goes with buying a copter. I opt to not go down here. I opt to actually go over here so I can get over here next turn and start capping this property and this property. I want to make sure I get these 2 properties and it's possible I want to get this property as well. So that's why I kind of didn't go to the middle. I figured like this one is free, and also this infantry over here is going to get it anyway, so there's no real point crossing over. So that was my thought process right there. I get a boosty poo. I can actually reach this comm tower now, which is alright. Actually position it. I didn't do max range. I only moved it this far. So I can get this over to get the comm tower. I can also get this infantry over there. Maybe plop it in this river so I can try to capture this property right over here. Or have some ideas on that sort. I build my tank over here and it's easily going to reach the front line before this recon does. Just by virtue of having treads rather than tires. So that recon's going to be pretty useless, just not going to lie. In my eyes at least. We'll see if it does some work. I'm not gonna give too many spoilers. There goes the recon. Hasn't done jack yet, but ain't no thing. Brings this tank from the strong side actually up to the weak side. Which I thought was interesting. I guess he wanted to reinforce the recon with another tank. The recon, like a pecan pie. Builds a artillery pretty early. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, artillery pretty decent on this map with all the choke points, but as Grim, you probably want to stick to tanks. And you also lose a lot of momentum by building this artillery. Now, if I just build a tank chain, this one kind of has to hold back and can't really go balls to the wall in the front anymore. Like, if I build a tank chain and kill that recon, and he attacks back with a tank, I'm going to have another tank to attack that. Whereas his tank chain is going to be broken by building that artillery. So I don't really agree with that artillery early build. I feel like if you're going to build an artillery, you build it as your first vehicle, or you build it when things are a little more static and the game is kind of wound down a little bit, not into the early aggression stage. Because we're still in the early aggression stage, trying to get caps and whatnot. So I don't really agree with that early artillery at this point. I see that he had the option of building a tank too. It wasn't that he didn't have enough funds and he couldn't build an artillery. He actually had enough funds to build a tank, but he opted for an artillery, which I thought was a little notable. But whatever, I don't care. Get my boosty poos, put them in the forest. There we go, threatening these 2 caps over here. The APC's not doing too terrible. It was definitely a meme buy. I built an artillery, but notably, I built an artillery by virtue of not having enough funds. If I had enough funds, I would build a tank here. It's not because that I wanted to build an artillery super, super bad, but whatever. I just had enough funds for that. So pretty standard so far. Not too much deviation other than the recon. This artillery is going to take forever to get to the front lines. This tank has to be passive because I'm going to have 2 tanks over here. Gonna have my tank chain coming, as well as an artillery. So not quite ideal for him. Has not quite got over to this hump over here where I have due to the APC. So the APC is doing a little bit of work. I wouldn't recommend building an APC this early though. Builds a copter, goes for the base skip for some reason. I guess he forgot? What's he saving up for? Yeah, he must have base skipped. I don't know why he did that, but he did. And I'm a bit ahead on capturing the properties because of this APC. You take the lion's pick. Which one do I want? Don't really mind. I build my first mech so I can get that to the front lines, plop it around in this vicinity over here, really threaten him with the mech. I need to use that APC or it's going to be useless. It's helped speed up my caps somewhat, but not really noticeably. Hasn't really gotten any boosties. We love our boosties around here, but it hasn't really done jack yet. Bring my tank over as a deterrent. It's got coverage over here as well. If somehow that tank can reach me, and it can reach me. But if you attack me, I'm going to destroy you, basically. That's how it's going to go. I go for this property here because it's safer rather than this one over here. Because it would be a little more dubious in the front, and the copter could probably reach over there eventually. So I opt to go for that safer property there than the middle. He's putting his artillery over here. It looked like he's going to shoot my black boat so he can get to the middle earlier. Like I said, I don't really care about these black boats quite as much as Mr. Medium Tank. But whatever. But anyway, pretty happy with my capture game so far, even though I built that memey little AP sizzle. A little ahead on this caps over here, whereas I'm probably going to cap that unless he sacks his recon. He actually uses his tank over here, which I do not agree with. Really let off a lot of pressure right there. Doesn't have coverage of the recon if it does decide to attack me now. Now that recon basically is going to die for free if it attacks me, or it has to do something. Goes over there. Lost all its early pressure from the recon, so that didn't really pay off. Recon never got a first strike on any of my infantry. I got this contested property over here where he does not have this contested property over here, and I can threaten to interrupt it because he has weak defense. It'd be pretty easy to interrupt a cap like that. So I was happy with that. Doing pretty good on the capture game. Gonna get this property on the corner over there. He's gonna get that property. But look at these two right here. Not free for him. Whereas I've got this one over here. He doesn't have that one. I'm threatening this one over here. Yeah, he's sort of threatening that as well, so it's not too crazy. I'm basically a difference between one property. And I'm looking to get over this property over here at the top. And he is nowhere near this property where I'm right there for this property. Bring my tank chains in. And bring some more tankies, because tanks have been good. I'm basically all infantry on the top on my weak side, everything else at the bottom. I got my tanks, I got my artillery. I have control of this area right here. The copter cannot block me in this general vicinity yet. I have great coverage. I actually do not cover this tank in the forest, which is why I have this infantry there. If this infantry wasn't there, he'd get a free shot off with his... actually, no, he wouldn't. I can reach my artillery, or my anti-air there. Okay, it's completely protected even if infantry wasn't there. So my anti-air is kind of a G. Kind of a big deal if you think about it. But yeah, so it kills my poor little black boat. I was sad about that. Not really, I didn't really care. But really defensive, really passive so far. The recon is now going to the top of the screen, which makes more sense actually, because I actually kind of like this decision. I don't have any tanks up there. Just have a bunch of infantry, basically a bunch of cheap shit. My nearest tank is this one over here, and it'll take a while to wrap around and even reach that vicinity over there. So, not a bad decision. I actually like the decision for the recon front shifting, because it's super easy to front shift with all these roads and cities in the middle. Builds another copter. I knew the copter spam was coming, so I believe this turn I might build another anti-air and maybe a copter of my own. Brings the copter in, gets a free hit on my infantry, and I didn't really care that much, but it is what it is. Bring my infantry over here, daring to cap that. I'm going to have 2 tanks, artillery, and an anti-air, whereas he only has 1 tank, and oh, his tank can even attack me. Only attack me with infantry over there, so... Meanwhile, these passive tanks, yeah, they got my black boat. Ooh, they got my black boat. But they're really far from the front of the lines, and I've dominated control of this river over here, whereas he's not really got a presence over there. So we'll see if that comes into play. Bring my mech to the front line. Basically a pseudo tank at this point when I do get to the front of the line. Build a artillery, actually base skip here, because that hit on me actually was really annoying. Maybe I should have moved that infantry out of the way, because it allowed him to get that hit and then lower me 200 whatever the hell's advanced war buckaroonies, so I couldn't afford anything. This was pretty ballsy of me, actually, to be honest, to bring this tank over there. I kind of wanted to front shift a bit, so I could scare this recon over there, and also have like a little pincer strike so I can get it like a fly on the wall, just like smack it between two tanky poos. Just gotta make sure I have coverage between this anti-air, which is a bit risky because, like I said earlier, it's hard to wrap around through this forest and river over there. It's pretty easy to block with like infantry and whatnot, but I'm able to get coverage. He will get a first strike off with his tank, which is scary, and he could get another tank out in there. So I don't really agree with me putting the tank on that city right there. I think that was a little too ballsy. But live and you learn. I bring out my mech to the front line. Kapow! Now it's covering my tank as well over here. If he decides to attack this tank for some strange reason, I will destroy him. If he wants to attack this artillery over there, he can do so with his tank. That's kind of a lure, like I said in my video. Oh, he gets a free hit off on my artillery. But then two tanks hit you. I have a mech in play. I have another tank on the way. Another tank over here that actually could switch down over there if need be. So I built a copter as well, just making sure that these infantry aren't free deaths for him. I decide not to cap it. A lot of people like to cap these things like, oh, I can get the initiative and get the cap over there. But I'd rather be sitting up in the mountains over here waiting for the prey to come down and then blasting them into pieces. So I do interrupt this cap though. It does a pretty low roll. Actually, I was expecting to do like 6-7 damage. Low roll, but it doesn't really matter. The point of this is to interrupt the cap anyway. This guy will interrupt the cap over there as well anyway. If he does decide to come down, I can break through a wall. If he decides to block it with another infantry, I will be able to break through it with these other infantry as well, so I'm not really too concerned about that. We're pretty tight on economy right now. His recon does come in and get an infantry kill, so the recon finally does something. Kind of sucked most of the game, but it finally did something, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But they can still interrupt that cap at it there. So he's getting the middle though, and I'm nowhere near the middle, so that's another glaring thing. So it kind of sucked that he lost a lot of momentum killing my black boat, but it will be said that he is able to go to the center earlier than me because I have to wrap all the hell away around, and that black boat is still just chilling in that river right there. So I was a little sad about that, but you know, you live and you learn. He gets a strike off on here. He's getting me more charge than him. Like you can see here, I have double the charge as him, which is fine. I'm happy to get my power first before he hits his power or superpower, because I get that extra 10 defense. So we'll kind of neuter Grimm's superpower or CO power. So I'm happy to get my CO power first. That's also another reason why I wasn't killing those black boats. I don't want to give him free charge. Ew, no. Ew, no. So he's getting a little bit of a death ball over here, but I'm not really going to attack into that because I don't really find a need. Front shifts his copter. I appreciate that. That's a smart move. Sees the anti-air. Good idea to split up the copters. I don't have any anti-air up here. I only have my own copter, so smart move. I like that move. I capture these properties, now I'm gonna hit 2k, whereas over here, I'm not capturing those. But he's gonna capture this middle property, so I'll probably be ahead 1k, just looking at it. At this current status of how things are going. Bring my artillery over here, gives me the option to either move it to the strong side or the weak side, or blast through that stupid little black boat, so a little flexibility there. Bring my tank in here. He has nothing at all to stop my tank from attacking, so here's why I just go ball to the wall. I can kill that infantry pretty scot-free. My infantry come in. They're all protected by the tank. They're all protected by the copter over there, so I'm not really scared anymore. All he's got is this copter and this recon, and that's basically it. No tanks in the general vicinity at all. It's going to take 3-4 turns for them to even reach where I am up there. So I can get pretty much away with that. I build another anti-air as well because I have this one go to the top and this one at the bottom. Because I know as Grim, we're going to see copter spam, okay? I get it. Grim copter is good. Grim copter is really good. But I get a little defensive, but I do control this river over here. As I control the river, I can actually deny this property, which should be his. This one should be mine. Just by virtue of it being closer, easy to reinforce. This forest over here slows you down. This forest over here slows you down. So getting that property is a lot easier to go from over here. Or up through there somehow. But yeah, I get a little defensive over there. I'm a little scared though because Grim is known for breaking walls. But I do have a mech that kind of helps out a bit. So if he does reach this, I think it does one-shot infantry on rivers, but probably not on plains. So that's a little scary, but I'm out of range of everything. This infantry I kept over here, he could kill it with a mech, or with a tank combined with an infantry, but I will have a strong counterattack from 2 tanks, anti-air, 3 tanks actually could reach some parts of that as well. So I'm not too concerned about that. I'm pretty happy with how the top side is going though. My top side is actually doing pretty good for a weak side. So I'm not complaining about that, but he's got the middle. He's got the middle. But he's really on the defense over here. This tank, see, it can't even reinforce. So basically, this is all mine. And I don't mind at all. Like, I can capture this, and he won't even be able to interrupt it. I mean, if he moves the recon back, assuming. Which he does. So now it's just absolutely free. I would have kept 1 infantry in range to interrupt it, to be perfectly honest. Just because once I get that property, it's going to be pretty damn good for me. So, I was pretty happy he didn't keep a single infantry in range. And then he's got the tank and he's got the anti-air, but he's only got artillery or infantry coming after, so just basically those two. I guess I can say the same about my units over there. I don't have too many reinforcements coming in. Free cap. I decided to move here to threaten this cap. A lot of people, they don't use their infantry to constantly threaten things. I think, even though I'm not going to capture this, having this here forces his infantry to stay right there. If I wasn't threatening that, they could go across the river, could go down here, could do whatever the hell it wants. But by threatening to take this cap, he has to keep his infantry right there, so I'm kind of dictating what he has to do. Go to capture this bottom one over here. Like I said, it should be mine. So this is where I made one mistake this turn. We'll wait till the end of the turn for the mistake. Bring my copter down, good coverage. See, look, can't reach me over there in the tank, can't reach me over there with anything. The thing is, he can get a hit off with the copter and then put this anti-air in range, and then this tank is just going to get a free hit from the copter. So this is kind of dumb. His tank can't reach me, but I really wanted this cap super bad, but kind of rushed it here. Just a baboon brain play by me. You might have noticed my artillery's been chilling here. The reason why it's been chilling is because I'm protecting this property. Locking down this property, locking down this property. So I've got these over here, so I have maintained a 1k income lead. I'll soon have a 2k income lead. Maybe 3 if I get that, but I'm not going to get that. So I'm really focusing on income at this point. I don't mind getting to stall wars, alright? If it goes to stall wars and I have a 2k income advantage, I'm going to win. I'm just going to win a slow war of attrition, and that's how it is. It's also a day limit, so I will win regardless. But yeah, bringing my getting the second mech on. Right? Remember what I said at the beginning game? 2 mechs on the front lines, doing 2 hits, pays for itself. The APC does. Double RD in it, baby. See, these tanks, they're not quite in striking range to break through. And if they do break through, I have a mech on a mountain. I got tanks over here. You do not want to attack into this right here. I'm maintaining firm control of this river over there. Maintaining control of this property as well. I can't go to the middle. He's doing a good job protecting the middle, so I can't just front shift over there as much as I'd like to and destroy everything. But I'm doing a pretty good job at the top, except for this wall didn't really make sense. I should have protected my tank, because that's a free hit on the tank by the copter. But, like I said earlier, see, it forced this artillery to go, or this infantry to go over there to protect this property. That's the power of this little infantry just threatening to capture the property, alright? The little things. See, easily for free hit, and then he's gonna bring his artillery up, or whatever the hell it's called, his anti-air up, and yeah, I could attack the copter with my copter, but I'm gonna get killed by the anti-air. And he has a tank as reinforcements. Threatening the middle. So that's kind of scary. I don't want to let him get that free property right there. So it's looking scary right now for me. I'm behind on unit value, mostly due to me losing this black boat and that one being injured. But I'm still behind on unit value, but I'm ahead on unit count. Well, I'm tied on unit count, and I'm pretty behind, or I'm behind on whatever the hell it's called. Or I'm ahead on income. Man, I can never speak about these things. Builds another anti-air. He's spamming anti-air. I don't know how I feel about that. I only have 2 copters. I guess I did the same, and he has 3 copters, so it makes a little more sense. You want to have 1 anti-air for every 1.5 copters. For if you have 3 copters, you want 2 anti-air. It's just like a rule of thumb that I go by. Bring my mech to the front line. Front shift all this to the top over there, because I'm feeling pretty safe over here with my mechs. So I figured now that I have my mechs over there, I can cut loose and bring some units over here. I got 2 copters, I got anti-air, and I've got a tank. I'm not gonna get this property over there, but it's fine. I made out with some loot. By getting that property up there, so now I'm ahead by 2k. He's threatening to take this property pretty hard, but I do have some counterattacks as well. Like I said, his infantry get mowed down because I'm Jugger. And when Jugger comes in, Jugger destroys. So I opt to attack the copter, just to make sure his anti-air comes in, so I can kill the anti-air with a tank or something next turn. I don't know. I just wanted to not give him a free hit, but he kills off my infantry. Sad. He actually just one-shots with my with his copter instead of my Copter instead of his anti-air so he can get some more free kills. This is a pretty bad turn for me, to be perfectly honest. Unfortunately for me, this tank won't even come in to reinforce against that brutal attack by him, so that part sucks, not gonna lie. But it is what it is. And I have a power coming up, because if he didn't attack that black boat, I wouldn't have a power this turn. Just think about that. Just think about that. I would not have enough for a power if he didn't attack these two black boats. And I'm going to pop my power this turn. You can bet your ball sack I'm going to pop that shit. And like I said earlier, Jugga versus Grim, best matchup there is. First thing I do, overclock. Copter comes in. Kaplow. Pretty good roll right there. Infantry. Kaplow. That's right. Good roll, baby. We're getting some good rolls. Next up, anti-air. Kaplow. Oh, blow roll. But I don't mind. Interrupt that cap. You got a little ballsy there. Infantry. Boom! 5 damage to the copter. High roll. Let's attack the other copter. Low roll. We're getting mixed results. The most important thing, though, I killed off the anti-air and I have this copter over there. So I'm feeling good. As long as I kill off that anti-air, the combination of this tank and the, whatever the hell I finished it off with, the anti-air, that's perfectly fine by me. I want to have superiority of the air. This thing is nowhere near the front lines at this point, so I was happy to kill off that. I have my tank as backup. I have plus 10 defense as well, plus 10 offense before the luck. I was pretty happy with that. Cheeky little repair right there, or supply, but I also just wanted to get in range of this mech, so I can transport my third mech to the front lines. The mechs, the cheap mechs are allowing me to free up some vehicles to go to the top as well, so the mechs aren't all, terrible. They're freeing up some extra value. I have an income lead, and I have the mech chain going, so instead of tanks, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks over here. He's got 1, 2, 3 tanks, and mechs are like half a tank, I guess, so I technically have more vehicles than he does. Bring my tank down to the top, and I attack the copter, another cheeky high roll. I think I got a little too ballsy this turn. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have came in and attacked that. I just wanted some lucky rolls. Actually, I don't think I had a follow-up to that. I was like, I could attack with another infantry to get some damage, but that's just suicide. So I like the copter attack. The copter attack made sense, but the tank attack, I'm only going to do like max 5 damage, min 0 damage, average probably like 1 to 2 damage, so not worth it. So, but the top, things are going pretty well. And I'm locking down this property as well with this artillery. It's kind of dumb to sack that thing because it won't block anymore, but it's fine. The top's going well, though. I have income advantage. He's threatening to take this property over here. Not quite threatening to take this property. If I were him, I would have moved that over one square over here to threaten this as well. I wouldn't be able to get a first strike off of this infantry. I'd have to designate a vehicle to stop it, so I don't agree with that. I think even just going 1 space extra to threaten that property would make a big deal. So I kind of, just the small things. He's got these weak copters. I don't like these artillery, though. Like I said, you've already got 2 artillery. Grim's walls are garbo. I would have built a tank there. I would have built triple tanks. I would have combined units or something. I can see he ran out of funds, but I don't know. Combine some shit or something. Combine the copter, and copter, and then combine an infantry too, and you should have enough money, I would think. Haymaker. So now he pops his super, which I was actually thrilled, because he doesn't really have that many attacks he can do to me. He attacks with his recon, gets a free 1-hit KO. Attacks with his infantry, doesn't 1-hit KO because I have my power active. Would 1-hit KO otherwise, I believe. Tank comes in. See, that's overkill. He probably would have killed it anyway, so why even pop a haymaker? Comes in with the copter. That does a lot of damage. That probably would have knocked me out on 7 normally instead of 5, so I guess the haymaker paid off in this part, but overall, not really that effective. So I didn't really mind the haymaker at all. I was happy to see it. And now that he popped the haymaker, I figure I can kill this boat because I won't give him any charge. So I get a shot off on it, do a high roll, blast to the smithereens, plot my mech at the top now. Now I'm threatening the mech at the top, covering this this tank over there, even though I'm going to retreat it to heal it as well, but getting those mechs involved, actually able to kill off that black boat in 1 single turn, just a combination of mech, or a combination of artillery and a tank. During his super, so we got no charge from it, so that's, if I'm going to be killing that shit, it's only going to be happening during his power. Infantry come in, getting a killy poo. Copter coming in. See, it's hard to reach over here, bud. There's forest over here. Coming in, Kaplaba. Kaplaba is actually a word in the English dictionary. Look it up. Not really. Okay, here's where I made some baboon brain decisions. I went in here during his super because I wanted to attack that artillery. I felt like this was a little too ballsy. Remember what I said earlier, like if you're a fulcrum, you attack on one side, you retreat on the other. I just wanted to go balls to the wall here. I want to punish Mr. Medium Tank. I want to beat his little meaty head down. But, yeah, I got a little too over-enthusiastic. And, so that was a little dumb, I think, on my part. But I have mechs back up, so I was like, this could go okay. But he can bring this tank down. He can bring this copter down. He's got a copter here. This artillery is going to get shot off on that one. If anything, best case scenario, it's like an even trade for me. And honestly, an even trade's good for me, but I don't think it's going to be the best case scenario. I don't have the power active as well. I don't have the defense. So I'm at the mercy of poor old Grim. And he's going to lay a haymaker to my face like, haymaker. So I think that was a little too ballsy. Like I said, fulcrum. Should have stayed back, kept my artillery locked on the city. Now he can get the city as well after he punishes me over here. So got a little greedy. You know, things like that happen sometimes. Got a little greedy, punishes me. Boomba, boomba. Now he caps. No, he doesn't cap actually. Rocket hit, or copter hit. Kills off one tank. Kills off two tanks. I would have attacked this copter first, to be perfectly honest. I don't know why. He attacked the tank first. Probably just going too fast. Then he comes in, 2-hit KO because I don't have my power up. Gets a hit on, doesn't actually attack my artillery, which I was a little pleased by. Gets a cap over there, but I mean, that's not happening. So pretty punishing. Now all I have is one tank, one mech, this artillery where if I attack, I'm going to get killed next turn, so I kind of have to retreat. I have two infantry, so and a copter. Like, I'm going to reach the copter and kill it, like, but it's a little bit of a tricky situation. I remember at this point I kind of did a, I used the move planner for this turn. Last turn I didn't use the move planner, I just went baboon brain in it. But at this point in the game, I was like, I need to use the move planner. I really blundered right there. I could lose. I thought I was winning at that point, but that I kind of lost all my momentum that I gained from here. Very passive anti-air. So my copters can go to the middle, no problemo. Just because it's so hard for them to wrap around here. Look at that. Not gonna reach here. So my copter can go down there, attack some infantry, then shift to the bottom. He has no anti-air at the bottom. So this is looking like a beautiful front shift opportunity for me right now using my copters. And that's exactly what I do. And I don't like this infantry capping over there when these are kind of passive. He's got one tank in range and one anti-air, not even in range of this right there. So I can actually attack that with my copter and he can't even kill it with his anti-air. And these tanks take a little while to get over there. But luckily for him, it's going better for him at the bottom. He's got numbers at the bottom where I have numbers at the top. Should have done the fulcrum, baby. Should have done the fulcrum. I mean, I tell her this advice sometimes, and I sometimes don't listen to it to myself. You get in the zone, you're like, I'm just going to win. I'm just going to win. But, yeah, sometimes you get a little greedy. But I use my overclock. Honestly, I didn't really feel like using my scop this whole time. I wanted the overclock because it gives me that consistent 10% attack, consistent 10% defense. Luck, shit can happen. I don't really care. Whatever. But I just wanted that consistent defense. Get some good rolls. Not quite, but I'll take it. Ooh! I was upset about that. I wanted to get my tank involved. I wanted to kill off this tank, then bring my tank down to kill off this artillery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wouldn't be able to reach this copter, though, so we'll see. I'll find a way, though. I use my tank not to attack another tank, but simply to get an infantry, just because I want that copter dead so badly. There's a roll. I could one-shot that infantry right there, but I opt to go for the safe route. Ooh, I think this was a little bit of a roll, but I mean, they still get it down to 1 or 2 HP when you don't have a power, so a little bit of a roll, but not crazy. Use my mech as a safe one. Like I said, I could have one-shot that. I think the range was like 70 damage to 120, which is like 50-50 for the most part, but I was like, I need to kill that copter. I do have this tank over there, but it doesn't really have overlap with this anti-air, so that anti-air is 100% dead, but I don't mind too much. See, as you might have noticed, these reinforcements, he's been making bad decisions in terms of reinforcements. He's been building too many artillery. Like I said, you want to build artillery when the game is static, but this is we're going back and forth and back and forth, and I have tank reinforcements, he doesn't. He was winning. Not gonna lie, he was winning down here in terms of numbers, but now he's only got 2 tanks versus my 1 tank, but it's actually 3 tanks. So it's actually scary. He had numbers, but now this is all over here. This is no position to even counterattack. None of these can counterattack. This one's, God knows what that one's doing. It's just sucking its own balls. So I was happy to see. I think medium tank's worst cardinal sin this matchup was what he chose as reinforcements. He often chose artillery instead of tanks when tanks would have done a great job. Like I said, he's grim. Copters are better. Tanks are better than artillery. It takes so long to get to the front lines anyway. Interrupting the tank chains to get these artillery chains, they're not in position. I can break through his infantry walls. I just didn't like that. I can go to the middle now, so I can finally capture this property. I had 2k for the past like 5 so turns. 2k is not the end of the world, but it's pretty nice. A little bit noticeable. Like I said, being passive over here with this anti-air, I mean, it's protected, but it can't even attack my copter. It can only reach these 2 squares right here. So I'm able to get away with some free hits. See, I don't even try to cap this. I know where I'm at. Some people might go to caps for things whenever they can, but I know at this point I'm just going for damage rather than numbers. Get some free hits off. Like I said, he can come and attack me with the tank, but I have a mech. These mechs are paying off, and I have the copter. I have 2 copters. I have numbers up here, and now I have numbers down here. He would have numbers if he had tanks instead of artillery, but we'll see. I build another, you might be wondering, Deej, look, he only has a 5 HP copter. Why are you building an anti-air? The reason I'm building anti-air is because I respect Grim copters. I know as Grim, he needs to build copters to stay in the game. So I'm going to be ahead of him. I'm going to use my tactic that I said during the rating ladder climber. When reaching 1300. Anticipate your opponent building a copter and psychologically copter lock them or airport lock them. Before they even build a copter, build that anti-air. Just say if you have a first step on him, my anti-air will be over here before he even builds the copter. I'll be at the front lines before that copter can even blink. So I knew a copter was coming. Don't give a shit. I'm building an anti-air anyway. I know how good Grim copters are. Pops is knuckle duster. You thought dusters were done from Days of Ruin. Oh no. Grim. Knuckle duster. Oh, knuckle buster. That's gotta be a mistranslation. It should be knuckle duster. I think from the cartridge, it's definitely knuckle duster. Anyway, attacks in. A little shaky. Like I said, the reinforcements are a little shaky over here. A little shaky wakey. This thing's completely out of range of doing jack shitty. He does kill my mech though, so that part kind of sucked. Not gonna lie about that. He gets a hit off of my anti-air or my artillery. Wasn't too thrilled about that. Uses his copter over here as a nice blocker. Good move. But he's not getting this property over here. I've had this property the whole time. I've had my 2k by virtue of having this property. Even though I don't have the middle yet, but I will be getting it soon. Oh yes, I will be getting it very soon. Look at this little cut. Look at this recon. It's got 3 fuel. I think it's got 2 kills though, so it actually did some work in the end, but it definitely didn't pay off the price. Like, sure, it was worth 4k, but it wasn't worth 4k on day 3 or 4? No, hell no. Inflation, baby. That's probably like, spending 4k on turn 3 or 4 right now, it's like spending 8k this turn. Like, inflation, baby. So, another artillery. I mean, it's static over here. Okay, this makes a little more sense. He's static. He's on the defensive. Artillery might make more sense. Then he can have a sustained push. Over here, though, you need to keep reinforcing because I'm going to beat the shishk out of you. Beat the shish kebab. Like I said earlier, copty wopty. Yeah, I got to step on you, boy. Goes for the cap here. I no longer, since I went baboon and sacred all my units, I lost the lock on this infantry over there, so he's going to get that probably. But it is what it is. I'm able to get this property at least. Come in. Boomba. Good roll. Retreat my artillery. Pretty defensive here. I didn't really feel like attacking into that. I got my mech over here. My mechs have been paying off. I think this is my 4th mech. So my APC is actually getting pretty good work in. I guess it was worth it in the end. I'm not sure if I played against Go 7 or Toulouse, it'd be worth it. But against Mr. Medium Tank, I built another artillery for some reason. Honestly, I know why. If I had an extra 1k, then I would have built another tank. Artillery good. But look, passive little anti-air. Well, bitch, I'm coming down here, threatening no anti-air at all. No, nothing at all. Hell, I can bring my tanks down. My tanky poos even come down here. I'm threatening a switch. Look, controlling this area. I mean, I don't have like an artillery locked on him or anything, but I'm controlling it. Look, he can't even wrap around. Nope, nope, nope. None of them can even reach this tank on a road right there. I have control of the middle now, baby. You may have killed the black blow earlier on, but now the middle is mine. I don't care about this property. I'm bringing my infantry down there to capture that property. That is how much I control the middle. Well, I'm going to try to, you know, feist it up a bit. I mean, I'm not going to get it. He's going to sack something to kill it, probably. But I have a mech to come in and punish regardless. Feeling pretty good at this point. But he's going to lower down the income down to just 1k difference. Although I most definitely capture this next turn unless he somehow no, he won't. It's impossible. It's physically impossible for him to interrupt that cap over there. So it will remain a 2k income advantage. But he's threatening up here. He noticed that I'm going in the middle. Smart move. You notice someone's going strong somewhere, you got to push somewhere else. So he's pushing up here to capture this property, capture this property, capture this property, which is fine. Recon has 1 fuel. It can literally move here. It can't even move in the forest because or actually it can't move anywhere. I think it can move back 1 space. So that recon, it exists. Smart move moving the tanks up. Now they can actually come down and wrap around and hit me on the road over there. They kind of suck being down here. You want to position them up there because, like I said, this river, this forest, control that baby. Now he's got the artillery over there. Now he controls it. So he's doing a good job getting control of that river over there. This turn, I remember this turn quite well. Mr. Medi with an impenetrable fortress. Bring in the copter spam. I knew it. I knew it. Alright, look. I wanted to get in that spot. I wanted to kill off one of the artilleries. Will I have a superpower? Probably not. So here's the deal. This is a bit of a puzzle right here. How do I reach this tank in 2 hits? Number 1. Okay, bring this infantry, kill that. Kill that with my tank. 1 copter kills, the tank finishes it off, the 4 HP tank. Then I have to kill that with something. I have to kill that with a tank. It's very confusing how to kill off all of those 1 HP infantry and also reach the tank with 2 hits from a copter as well from another tank as well. I need to be able to kill off that tank with 1 copter and 1 tank and have the other one attack the artillery. And it's not easy. That's not easy. It's a bit of a puzzle. I used the move planner here. And I came up with the perfect plan. Actually, I was able to capture these 2 properties first. Boomba, boomba. Now I'm ahead by 3k. Will I interrupt that? Remains to be seen. But I came up with a plan. See if you can figure out a way. Pause it. See if you can figure out a way to break through this and reach the artillery. I found a way. It took me about 5-10 minutes of the move planner to do it. I hashed out a few different ways to do it. Didn't work until like the 3rd or 4th time I tried. This is how you actually do it. Because I will break through. Copter goes down. This top one goes down first. Because that's as far as it'll reach. Tank comes down over here. If I bring the tank down over there, I won't be able to kill this. It'll block my other units from coming in to attack. So it's actually very strategic that I bring this 4 HP tank down over here rather than over here. It doesn't matter that it's going to die anyway because things are going to be in range. Bring that tank down over there. Able to kill off the 1 HP infantry there. The trick to this, ignore that 1 HP infantry over there. If you kill it off with a copter or with a tank, the whole gig is up. So I just ignored that. Kill that off, boom, ba doom, ba boom, 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 ba. And just like that. Pretty humiliating loss for him. 4 tanks, well 3 tanks, 2 copters, versus 1 full HP artillery, the other one's a weak as shit. Another tank, another copter, but I have an anti-air, I have 2 copters, I have a mech coming in, I have another tank coming in, I have 2 artillery. This is looking like a super strong DG push at the bottom, baby. I was saving it up. Boom, bop. Bring it back over here, because I want to kill lock this. Hey, if he kills my tank or my mech in 1 hit with that artillery, that's fine by me. I don't give a shit. But I want to get this mech on the mountain next turn and really punish him. So I bring in my artillery over there to make sure I kill off this artillery or this infantry so I can get on the mountain next turn. Bring my other artillery as well, just to make sure I get control of the mountain. Bring the tank in. Bring my infantry over here. Look, he's got this one on lock, so I figure I threaten this one as well. Threaten these both Mr. Medium Tank's properties over there. And maximum threats. That's the key of this match. Maximum threats. He comes in. I didn't pop my power. A little feisty over here by me, but he doesn't really have that much backup, and I have a mech here as well, and my reinforcements are here. I notice over here, since he was going for the copter chain, he's got really shitty in reinforcements over here. He's got numbers. He's got 3 tanks versus 2 tanks in the mech, but I have reinforcements. I have a tank, and I have a copter over there. And reinforcements are key. So he gets a strong attack at the top. He lowers it down to 2k income advantage again. Brings his tanky poo in. Both the infantry actually go over here, this direction. He's got more numbers, but I have... Oh, late game recon. Late game recon. I don't agree with that, but it is what it is. Do what you gotta do. I bring my overclock again, baby. This one was a good one. I got some nice rolls, not gonna lie. Infantry comes in, papaugi. Pretty good roll, 3 HP, take that any day. Bring that in, papaugi. Now, priority number 1 for me. Yeah, I can get a lot of free hits. I can kill off the tank or whatever. I can kill off the tank, bring in the infantry. Maybe I can hit the artillery. I don't give a shit about that though. Oh, copter. You guys forgot about this copter over here? That's the power of the middle, baby. Front, shift, front, shift. Look, I see that over there. Hell no, I'm not fighting into that bullshit. I'm bringing it up here. Kapauga. And that our anti-air over there looks mighty vulnerable. Boomba. Good roll by me. Boomba. Like I said, I got control of the mountain over there. Free hit. It's looking pretty damn good. Free hits. Look at my reinforcements. These reinforcements are scary. And most importantly, kill off the anti-air. No anti-air anywhere near up here. All the way down here. And I have 2 copters. 2 copters. Not just 1 copter on the loose. 2 copters with at least 2 turns. 2 copters, 2 turns, doing whatever the hell they want. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. The copters are going to be smashing things. There's nothing to stop it at all. When I killed off that anti-air, I knew I had won the top. There's no question about it. Bottom, I'm winning. We'll see how it goes. You know, maybe like I'm winning that like 65-35. Top, 100%. There's no chance. You can't keep fighting into this. I have more reinforcements. I'm going to build another copter and build another tank. Got the tank chance. There is no reinforcements. There's no anti-air. So I knew the top was won at this point. And if he just dares to attack my tank with his artillery, that's fine. But the bottom, a little bit of an afterthought. Because of that, I was like, I'm not going to push it too hard. I opt to keep this here to capture that. He can sack his copter in order to interrupt the cap, but he's not going to be able to interrupt the cap otherwise. So I'm going to have a 4k income advantage. This is just bullshit. I know he can interrupt that. That was just kind of a flex. But base skip over here. Build more copters because he's got nothing anywhere close. He should have protected that anti-air better. It came to the front of the line. What did it do? Did it actually kill a copter last turn? No. Well, it did that. Yeah, it just killed off an infantry. Didn't kill a copter or anything at all. And look, I know I got some lucky rolls. But, still, it was very vulnerable. Remember what I say, cardinal sin, protect your anti-air. They're used for zoning. Not for killing infantry. For zoning. And because that critically tips this completely in my balance. Before, I'd probably be slightly winning up there. Now it's crushing winning. I'm crushing winning at the top. This has to be a full-on retreat. That recon's dead because that's 1 fuel anyway. So this recon literally is 100% dead. But you gotta run as fast as you can with these units because they're gonna get demolished. I will chase him into the base. I don't even give a shit. I'll overextend. I'm gonna chase him down and murder his units. Yeah, so having that copter, having those double copters and that blunder there with the anti-air, I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna win now. Pops the haymaker is superpower, but he's still fighting at the top. At the bottom, I don't really care about that. That's some bull skip. Fighting in, but I have reinforcements and he resigns because there is no way in hell that reaches up there in less than 3 turns. He has to build another anti-air this turn, so 3 turns. 3 turns! My copter's doing whatever the hell they want. Ever the hell they want. Copters are strong. That was his cardinal sin. Reinforcements, Mr. Medium Tank's reinforcements were just inconsistent when we're doing crazy fighting. Building artillery didn't really make sense in the macro. Overextended his anti-air in complete range of getting destroyed. I mean, hell, it was lucky that I had a power active, but even if I didn't have a power, I'm bringing it down to 2 or 3 HP, which is basically severely crippling it. So those two biggest cardinal sins. The reinforcements was even bigger, though. I mean, at the end there, I was just clobbering him at the end. But even if I didn't win that, I was still winning that at the bottom as well, just because my reinforcements are better. Look at these little artillery all bunched together, not doing jack. They're not in firing range or anything. Whereas I have a whole bunch of tank. Yeah, I shifted in some artillery as well, but like, I only did that when the game was more static. I built artillery, or if I couldn't afford it otherwise. I didn't like purposely build artillery, unless I like couldn't afford anything else. It's looking pretty static over here, so I built an artillery. Yeah, it's still pretty static. Nothing going on. We got some fights going on. Do I build artillery? No. Now I build an artillery because I didn't have enough money, but when shit's going crazy, build tanks, build anti-air, build copters, build mechs. I don't give a shit. Don't build artillery. Don't build rockets. Maybe even medium tanks you want to think twice about because they're going to take longer to get to the front lines as well. But the reinforcements issue, it doesn't matter how many units. If he's winning, he's got 4 units and I have 3 units. And he's winning on the front lines. But I have 2 units in tow and he has no units in tow. I'm going to have 5 in one turn. And he's still going to have 4. So I'm going to be winning that. So it's not all about currently how you're winning. It's also about your reinforcements. Look into the future. Over here, look into the future. These are coming down as well. There's nothing. There's nothing. I have these chains coming in. You might as well count that and look at the front lines. 1, 2, 3. 2 tanks to full HP. Like, okay, it doesn't look too bad. But then you count this, and it looks pretty scary. Maybe even count this because it's going to shift up to the top if I really wanted to. But the name of the game, reinforcements, knowing when to use artillery and when not to. I thought he played pretty well overall. He had pretty good awareness. Could have threatened more with his infantry capping as well, I think. I think he was pretty passive on the caps. I understand that. I'm a higher level rated player. You don't want to get too ballsy with your caps because you could probably get punished. But at the same time, just threaten at least. Just threaten. You don't have to actually do anything. But just make me designate resources to defend my cities that I normally wouldn't have to. Even if you can't do anything, just threaten. Just give me another thing to worry about for the entire game. Having those extra infantry in position, like having this infantry here, I could have just put in this forest. But hey, I'm going to make that artillery stay there, right? If I had it over here, his artillery can go to the top and go to the bottom. By putting this infantry right there, I force that artillery to stay there. So that's how effective it is. You want to have infantry caps, threatened, good reinforcements, don't throw in artillery when you're having an active battle. And lastly, what was the last one? Oh yeah, make sure your anti-airs are taken safe. He was so good with his anti-air earlier. He's like, I'll protect you at all costs. Just stay in the forest. I'll have a whole meat shield for you. But then later on, he's like, I'm going in, baby. Like, dude, you're in range of my tank. I have a power. Even if I didn't have a power, that's nutty. Bringing this copter over, like, gotta be careful about that sort of stuff. And then I controlled the middle as well. That was kind of the final blow. I was able to bring this shit down. Bring these copters down here with no artillery. Oh, that's the funny thing. He had no anti-air over here, so I brought him down. Then he had this anti-air over there, but then I just shifted them right back up to the next turn. So it was kind of funny how that worked out. Just shifted right back up. So I was just kind of just playing, what's it called? Monkey in the middle with those stupid anti-air. So poor anti-air. Anyway, that was a pretty fun game. Let's look at the stats real quick though, just to keep things interesting. So I had more generated funds. He had an extra turn of funds though. That's why mine says lower, or just barely by 3k. So it should be actually 2,500 more funds than he does after having my turn. I had 3 scops versus 1 cop, and yeah. See, look, there it is. 20k extra in income. Yeah, I had more kills than deaths. Not crazy difference though, but the income really pushed to the top. More units killed as well. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this game. My opponent was very, very strong player. Definitely played up to the level. He was not a pushover by any means, and he probably had the disadvantage in the CO as well. So congrats for Mr. Medium Tank playing a very good game for being a medium seed. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys were entertained. And remember, take home those 3 points that I mentioned earlier, and your game will definitely be upped. So anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.